Hey y'all, what's up? This is Rosie, and well, I guess I'm doing this today, huh? Anyway, Noelle Wynters, and I love that name, by the way. Perfect romance author pseudonym. I wish I had thought of it. But Noelle Wynters wanted to know what it was like for me being a hopeless romantic as a black woman. So I'm gonna answer that question and tell you why I don't do that anymore. So, what I did first was I looked up the meaning of romance, and then I looked up what it was to be a hopeless romantic according to Google. So, I'm gonna put the screen caps of what I found on the screen so I don't have to tell the definitions of all of it, but I will tell you what the definition I found of a hopeless romantic is. And then I'm going to tell you why I don't do that no more. So, a hopeless romantic is someone who holds an idealized fairy tale view of love. They believe in soulmates, grand gestures, and destined connections, often clinging to the idea of an epic love story even when reality suggests otherwise. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, is that what I do? And then this image, this memory of me as a naive 18, 19, 20-year old came into my mind, just wide eyed and unjaded. And then I remembered what happened when I was 17, what happened when I was 18 and 19, 20, and what my marriage was like. And so, yeah, let's get into this. So at 17, I had my first boyfriend, and he was, I went into that in other videos, so I won't go fully into it now, but I met him in March of 1994, my senior year of high school. He was 22. Again, I was 17. Yes, my mom and my stepdad knew about it. They met him. They seemed to like him because this, he was a countrified white boy, but he liked like black music and stuff like that. So they liked him. And when I told them what his name was, they were like, he even has a black man's name, which I didn't know that was a thing, but okay. But they liked him. And he liked that they liked him. And so he started telling me around April of 94, as soon as you graduate, we gonna get married and we gonna start having babies and blah, 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 blah. And then this image of me being a young 17, almost 18-year-old being married in a trailer and heavily pregnant popped up into my mind. I wouldn't have been 17 and heavily pregnant because I turned 18 in July of that year. But still, that's what popped into my mind is me being this young teenage girl married and heavily pregnant in a trailer waiting for my husband to come home. And around late April, he started being possessive and telling me I couldn't talk to my friend anymore. And my bestie is how he met me. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have met me. But he started telling me I couldn't talk to her anymore. He would call me. Like when he got home from work, and I would already be on the phone. And he would be so mad at me once I got off the phone with her around about 8 or 9 that night to go to bed. And as soon as I hung up the phone with her, he would be calling me. And so I got this image of him blowing up my phone, and he would tell me, "I've been calling you all night, wherever." And I'm like, I was on the phone with my bestie, and he would be so mad. He would be fussing at me for like the first 15, 20 minutes of our phone call, and then he would start crying. He was clingy, and he was smothering, and it was exhausting for me as a 17-year-old girl about to graduate high school. And so I got tired of that, and I got scared because I knew that I did not want to marry him, and I was trying to figure out how to get out of this relationship. I was so glad that he ghosted me after my grandfather died. I know that's weird to say. I needed him. If that was one time I needed my boyfriend, it was that night, and he wasn't there. He ghosted me. But once I got over that initial, you know, and just concentrated on grieving my grandfather, I was relieved. And I refused to speak to him again because he called me from jail. Yeah, maybe about a week or so after my grandfather died, he called me from the St. Clair County Jail. And I also talked about that in a video of, what he said and what happened and all of that, but I refused to speak to him again. But even that didn't jade me against love. I had another boyfriend the following year. He knew what happened to me. And he didn't seem to try to rush me, but he kind of did. He said, "I love you" too fast, like 2 weeks after we met. And things happened with him, and even that still didn't jade me. I had a crush on this boy that I worked with. He was a sweetheart, this tall, lanky boy with big brown eyes. And he liked Robert Palmer. That was his favorite singer. And so, I was like, well, I like Robert Palmer, the blank stares from the women in his videos, they kind of cute. And so, I look back on that and I'm like, what did I see in this boy? Seriously. But, I liked him. I thought he was cute. And I think he kind of liked me too. He just didn't really know how to approach being in a relationship with a black girl. I think that he was the type that if he dated a black girl, his dad would kill him. Because I've heard that quite a few times from the boys that I worked with. And so I didn't worry about that. It was just a crush, nothing more. And yeah, I did have this idealized view of falling in love and meeting your one special person and you falling deeply in love with each other and all this stuff and get married, have a family, house, white picket fence, blah, blah, blah. But that didn't happen for me. My ex-husband was, anyway, so that was what jaded me, was after my divorce. And that was like the happiest day of my life. Even having my 2 children, okay, that was probably the only thing that paled my finalization of divorce day, was having my children. But that was one of the happiest days of my life, was getting a divorce. I'll just put it that way. My marriage was just not. Anyway, and so ever since him, I've been by myself and getting over the fear of being burned like that. And when I say being burned, I mean emotionally and mentally. It was just it was just not good. So that was what jaded me against being a hopeless romantic. I do think that love exists. I still haven't lost my hope of being with my one person someday. But with all the things that happened to me, if I combined all of that, that is what turned me against the belief in fairy tales and this fairy tale view of love. I know that if you're in a real relationship and you fall in love with someone, you have to take the good with the bad. There are arguments, there are disagreements. Nothing is perfect and things will go sideways sometimes. But you have to believe in each other and you have to believe that you can make it through those big, huge humps that will come in your relationship. But I also believe that if the relationship gets toxic, it has to end. There has to come a time where when you're being disrespected or you're disrespecting them, you have to realize that that's not love. That's just toxicity. And I'm not going for that again anymore. Period. So yeah, that's why I I mean, being a hopeless romantic, it just wasn't good. It was a bummer. It was bullshit. It was. I believe that love does exist and romance does exist, but you have to take it into reality. You have to realize that fairy tales don't exist and that this perfect epic love story doesn't exist. That's only in the movies. That's only in fairy tales, and fairy tales don't exist. So yeah, being a hopeless romantic as a black woman was a bummer, but hopefully things will go well next time. I'm just not looking for it actively. So yeah, there you go. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna go. If you would like to be a part of the tribe, hit the subscribe button. I would be forever grateful to you if you did. And check out my other content. I have lots of it on my page. And oh yeah, my Cash App and PayPal links will be in the description. So if you consider helping me out, I would appreciate it. I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much, and whenever I come back with another video is when you'll see me. Love y'all. Bye for now.